Oh yeah, that's almost 2 shulker boxes worth of mud right here in this single double chest, and 2 more shulker boxes worth of mud in this single double chest as well, which is going to be super useful because we're going to need mud in order to get to the next process of this whole terracotta project, and that's of course using this mud to create a clay farm. What up, my roomies, and welcome back to the technical guide to Minecraft. And we're back inside Ambrosia because we're going to need a couple of things in order to get here. But before we go into that, I need to mention that this whole storage system is, well, broken. It's super broken right now. And before I explain why, let me go grab a shulker box worth of pointed dripstone because we're going to need this for this build. But in order to show this, we're going to have to go down just a little bit, and we're going to have to open this up in order for me to show you that the trader is broken at the moment. So as you can see here, I can't tell whether or not this has 2 books on it anymore, but if we were to take this at face value, it seems that the books are no longer stacked on top of each other, which, if that's the case, means that this entire system is now broken, and I'm gonna have to replace all this with a standard T item sorter, which kind of sucks because there's a lot of these, and I'm gonna have to rebuild this entire thing, but it's fine. It's the nature of updating the game. Sometimes Mojang likes to destroy stuff that have applied in the past, but you know, it was only a matter of time until it got patched, I suppose. And as a result of the storage system being, well, basically broken, I had to turn off all these mini farms in the first floor in order to make sure that the system doesn't break any more than it already is. It's a good thing that we had it on for as long as we did, because at the very least we have ourselves a shulker box worth of pointed dripstone, which is sorely needed in order to make this build. And why do we need pointed dripstone? Pointed dripstone is how we're going to make mud into clay. And to understand this, welcome to Gigacore, where safety is a concern. So over here, we have a simple mud block, which is going to be the base on how we're going to make terracotta in the future, but in order to get that, we need to make clay. And how we get clay is through a mud block. See, when you have a mud block that's above a block that has pointed dripstone underneath, after a certain time, this mud block will turn into a clay block. And with this, we can use a shovel with Silk Touch in order to collect this clay block. And of course, there's a way for us to automate the mud blocks to be put in position to turn into clay. And if you recognize this is the smart piston that we used literally a couple episodes ago in order to push the dirt blocks into position to make mud. And now we're going to be using the smart piston in order to push the mud blocks into becoming clay. If you have a redstone torch beneath the mud block, it'll turn the redstone dust on, thus activating this piston. So if we put this down, it'll get pushed forward, and we could use this to our advantage. So over here, we have a line of yellow concrete with pointed dripstone beneath it, and if we were to just put down mud blocks right in front, you'll see that it'll get pushed forward and get in position for them to then turn into clay blocks. But this is only a single line. We could definitely do better than just one line of mud blocks. By simply putting the smart piston in front of a row, and then at the end attaching another smart piston that activates this entire row, we could have a bunch of mud blocks being turned into clay thanks to this pointed dripstone beneath it, basically done in mass. So if I were to demonstrate this real quick, you can see that the smart piston will push the mud blocks forward, place it all into position in mass. But hold on, we could do one even better by using piston feed tapes. And what a piston feed tape is that by using, again, smart pistons as well as observers, we can have it so that when the observer observes that this mud block gets in front of it, it'll activate this piston. And when another block gets on top of this, it'll then get pushed up. And because it'll get pushed up, it'll then get pushed forward. And eventually we get pushed down, and now we have ourselves a piston feed tape. So let me demonstrate. You can see that every time we place a mud block, it'll push the entire line of mud blocks forward. And eventually, we'll get pushed to a different position in a different direction until finally this entire thing will then keep circling over and over again. Now, of course, for our purposes, we're not going to have a perpetual piston feed tape, but in principle, we can use the piston feed tape in order to push some mud blocks into a new location in order to expand the amount of mud blocks that can be turned into clay. And so we have this. At the end of the row of the first mud to clay platform, we have a small piston feed tape that will first push it up and then push it forward. And then when being pushed forward, it'll be pushed to the second mud to clay platform. And then by doing so, we'll increase the capacity of which we could turn the mud into clay twofold. So just to show how this will work, this whole thing will get pushed and pushed and pushed. And as you can see, once it gets pushed to the final row, the piston feed tape will then push it forward to the secondary platform. And thus, there are now two platforms in which the mud can be turned into clay. It's all really that simple. For those that want to play around with this, there's going to be a schematic and a world download in the description below. And with that in mind, let's head back to the technical guide world and get to it. Quick interruption. I noticed that only 12% of you are actually subscribed to this channel. Watching this long, I must be doing something right, so if you like this video, hit that like button and please subscribe to this channel. Any support helps, and these videos take a bit long to make. Thank you so much, and back to the video. Okay, now that we've gotten over this entire thing, let's head over to the overworld real quick, build this clay farm, and start getting ourselves a bunch of clay. I'm like really starting to run out of space over in this base. I'm gonna really have to start making a second level in Ambrosia in order to start packing in these farms, because I'm legit running out of space inside this mushroom biome. Granted, there's a big hole down here that I can make myself a farm, but like, I don't know, I kind of like just keeping this hole as a whole, with the exception of the amethyst farm that's over there. It kind of like shows kind of the progression of things and kind of like where my mind was at the time. But now that we're kind of moving forward, I really need to start building the second floor of Ambrosia, because I don't know how many more farms I could actually build on the top layer of this thing. But that's neither here nor there. We need to actually start processing all this mud in order to make ourselves a bunch of clay. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, now that we've completely used up all of our mud, and let's just go to sleep real quick so we can skip this thunderstorm. We got ourselves 2 shulker boxes worth of clay. Well, almost 2 shulker boxes. I did lose a couple of clay down into this gigantic hole, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. But with these 2 shulker boxes worth of clay, we can then turn this into terracotta. And with the terracotta, we can then make it into colored terracotta. And I know that we made a lot of dye before, but for those that are in 1.21, you probably don't want to do it the way that we did it before. And so we're going to go over on how to mass produce dye using the crafter.